Morning. Well, good morning.
Where is it?
Well, you're here. If you're here, everyone is here. Lena, Rachel, and Michal. We're in chapter 12, the Benoni, chapter of the Benoni. We're discussing this fundamental principle that the mind has to rule over the heart. That's it. It's easy to say, it's not so easy to feel to live with. Because your heart is very powerful. Your desires are very, very strong. And here we learn from the Raya Mehemna, the faithful shepherd, from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Alter Rebbe takes us back 2,000 years to teach us that everybody has the power to rule over his heart. And to turn, you have the power to turn your mind away from the overwhelming desires that are driving you. This sages teach us in the Ethics of the Fathers, which we read during these days, during the Shabbos of the summertime. 3 things will drive a person out of the world. You understand what that means? It's not just words. It means these are the arch enemies of your life. Number 1 enemy, lust. The desire the urge to fulfill your desires. You want something, you must have it. And you must have it means at all costs. And we mentioned the idea of addictions. A person who's addicted to something, it will cause him to do the most abnormal things against his character, against his beliefs, against everything. I remember one time there was this person who asked to come and speak to me. It was like this, the summertime, was a long afternoon. So we met in the museum because there was nobody there. It was a very quiet place. Nobody would. We went into the area of one of the exhibits. We sat down. A successful businessman, a highly intelligent person. He was running a very successful fund in the stock market. He was a millionaire. He tells me he's addicted, he has an addiction. He was addicted to cocaine. And he was telling me that he separated from his wife and his son was staying with him. And it came time for him to take his next dose of the drug. And his son didn't want to go to sleep. The little boy didn't want to go to sleep. He wanted him to go to sleep so that he could just get high and feel better. And because the son didn't want to get him to sleep, didn't want to go to sleep, he was telling me he started to feel anger and resentment of his son. And here, this is the son that he loves. He's jealous of the time that he can spend with him, that he shouldn't be missing any time. And here he has time with him. He just wants to get rid of him, no matter what. And there was a clear example of how a person who has a strong desire will go against every principle that he believes in, just to fulfill his desire. And this is why people, if they cannot get the object of their desire, they will rob, they will steal, they'll steal secretly so nobody should know. When nobody's looking, take a few dollars out of a pushka so they can go buy what they want. Just like little children who creep into their parents' drawers and steal money to go buy candy in the store. So the same thing plays itself out in the lives of grown-ups. And if they can't get any money that way, then they could even go and rob a store or rob a person. And if the person resists, they could kill them. That's what happens. That's what happens. And so they end up in jail, and sometimes they're killed, especially in these kind of circles. When you have a conflict between people, one pulls a gun and that's it. And that's exactly what it says. The sages say in the Mishnah. 3 things will drive a person out of the world. And number 1 is lust, the desire. There was a famous law case a few years ago. Everybody was talking about it, international, where a great athlete, well known throughout the world, was married to a beautiful woman of a different race. She was white, he was black, and he killed her, and they claimed he didn't do it. It was a whole big case. What's behind it was lust. And jealousy. Jealousy drives lust. A person is driven to acquire the things he needs to keep up with the next guy, to have as big a house or as many houses or as many cars. There was a great sage, a great recent sage, a Rebbe, a leader of Hasidim. He said, the first gate of jealousy, I got through that when I was still a teenager. I left that behind. I'm not jealous of anybody or anything. As for lust, that's history. In my life, that's history. But honor, the third gate that kills a person is the pursuit of honor. Honor is also an addiction. You know what it means, honor? Somebody says to you, Rachel, I really think very highly of you. How do you feel? You feel good. You feel so good. When someone pays you a compliment, it's one of the greatest pleasures. People in show business, performers, writers, artists, they crave the feedback to know that people appreciate what they're doing. The gate of honor is so subtle that even the greatest sages are not immune. It says a story about Moshe Rabbeinu. There was a rebellion in the desert against Moshe Rabbeinu. We'll read about it in a few weeks. Kairach rebelled against Moshe Rabbeinu. He was Moshe's cousin. and he wanted to be high priest instead of Aaron. And the way to get it was he rebelled against Moshe. What made him do it? The desire for the honor of being the high priest. He didn't need money. He was a multimillionaire. He had all the power a man could want. He was a leader of the Jewish people. But as much as he had, he wanted more. Okay, so there was a rebellion. It came to an ill-fated end. The earth opened up and swallowed up Korach and all his followers. Like an earthquake. It was, terrifying. The Torah records the whole story. Now, when the Jews came to Eretz Yisrael, so there was talk of dividing up the land. This is now 40 years later. Who's going to get what? Which tribe is going to get which portion? And there were 5 brilliant girls in a family. Their father, his name was Tzalafchad. So these 4 brilliant young ladies, actually they weren't so young, they weren't married. And there were no brothers in the family. And their father, the dividing of the land was such that the portions of the land went according to the numbers of children. And since there were no brothers and the men were the ones who would be counted, so they realized our family is going to end up with 0, nothing. And they went to Moshe and they asked him, why isn't it possible? Why should we be different? Just because we don't have brothers, that means our whole family gets no portion in the land of Israel. We love the land of Israel. They were direct descendants of Joseph, the tzaddik, Joseph. And Joseph loved the land of Israel, and they loved the land of Israel. It was in the family. And they didn't want to be deprived of a portion in the land of Israel. So they went to Moshe and they said, why can our family not get land in Israel? Even though we have no brothers. We come from Tzalafchad. He died. So where is he now? He died. Why did he die? You might think he died because he rebelled against you with Korach. No, he didn't rebel against you. He wasn't part of Korach's rebellion, they said to him. In that case, says Moshe, I can't answer your question. Because you just bribed me. You just honored me. You told me that you were on my side in that fight. And that's a very subtle form of honor. And since bribery blinds the eyes of a judge, I cannot judge your case. Hashem is going to have to be the judge. So the commentaries say, happy is a person like Moshe that he can count on the fact that Hashem is going to answer him. But that's how subtle honor is. That even if a person on the highest level, the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, is subject to the temptations of honor. Okay, so these are 3 things that are deadly enemies. These are 3 deadly enemies: lust, jealousy, and honor. The pursuit of honor. So this rabbi said, jealousy and lust I left behind when I was a teenager, but honor, I still didn't get away from that one. It still reaches out at me, and I tried. And this was one of the highest levels of service of God of the big tzaddikim, is that to serve God without anybody knowing it. That whatever they do is just between themselves and Hashem. And they become the hidden tzaddikim. Nobody knows who they are. They keep it, well, they're very secret. They don't want any feedback or any reward or any pleasure just from the fact that they are connected to Hashem. Okay, so in dealing with these three deadly enemies, says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in The Faithful Shepherd, he said, but all is not lost. Any person has the power, if he wants, to control even these three deadly enemies. You with me? You with the discussion? Yeah. Page 182 in the middle. A person can control his desires and he can redirect them. He can redirect them to something else. So that, therefore, I said to you in the closing minutes last day, a person should have a stable of things that you really like. So when you feel threatened by one of these three desires, you can turn to something that's very interesting to you and distract yourself from that desire. And tell yourself things like this, that the object of your desire is no real object at all. It's only temporary. Just imagine what's going to be in 50, 60 years. That object you want, if just take that object down the timeline, 60 years, do you still want it? Do you still want it? Imagine you're attracted to somebody because he's young and handsome and very wealthy. And you can imagine all the wonderful times you would have being married to him. Just imagine him at the age of 75 after having a stroke, and you got to take care of him. Is that what you want? I'd give my life away for this. I want things more enduring and meaningful than that out of life. Because any physical desire that you could have for food or clothing or physical objects, it's all here today, gone tomorrow. So what am I devoting my life to? Let me devote my life to things that are eternal and lasting, truth and justice in the American way. And who disguises Clark? No, I mean, and and that's how a person can talk himself out of powerful desires by thinking of the end of things. It says in the Ethics of the Fathers, let a person think of three things he'll never come to sin. What are the driving forces that lead a person to sin? We just said, jealousy, lust, and the pursuit of honor. Let him think of three things. He'll never come to a pursuit of, he'll never come to a sin. What are these three things? Let him think about where things come from. What was the source of this beautiful, gorgeous person that you're in love with, infatuated with? Where did they come from? A smelly drop. That's what our sages say. Where are they going to end up? With worms and maggots, 6 feet under. And as for you, you are going to have to stand in front of the heavenly court, and everything's on video, live replay. An eye that sees, an ear that hears, and all your deeds written in a book. By thinking of these things, your desires, your lust fades away. Famous story of a young man, a socialite, a rich young socialite in the 19th century, in the mid-1800s, in Paris, an exclusive hotel for kings and princes, drinking wine, sitting at a card table, playing cards with other rich nobles, nobility, upper class, women. That's the life. Into the room walks the Lubavitcher Rebbe. What? What's the Lubavitcher Rebbe doing there? Into the room walks the Rebbe and starts looking over his shoulder, seeing how he's playing. What hand is he playing in the cards? Oh man, it feels a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, you feel uncomfortable when anybody sort of watches over your shoulder what you're doing, especially if they're coming from a different world. And then in between the hands, suddenly the Rebbe says to this young man, the wine you're drinking is going to confuse your heart and clog up your mind. Or maybe it was the other way around. He's going to confuse your mind and clog up the feelings in your heart. Be a Jew. He said, what? And he said it again. The wine you're drinking, non-kosher wine, Gentile wine, is going to clog up the feelings in your heart and it's going to confuse your mind. Be a Jew. And then the Rebbe walked away. He was very, very excited. The Rebbe was very excited. He was very overwrought. What happened? Anyway, to make a long story short, that young man was so disturbed by what happened that in the middle of the night he came knocking on the door of the Rebbe, who had taken a room on the floor where the gaming tables were, where the gambling was taking place in this exclusive, super exclusive hotel, which cost a fortune to stay there. And the Rebbe came and took a room there because he had come to see that neshama. How did he know this young man was there? How did he know who this young man was? Well, this is a Rebbe business. And the young man could not rest from the Rebbe's words until he came and spoke with him, and they spoke and they argued and who knows what through the night. And in the end, the young man returned to the roots of his family and became an observant Jew, the head of an outstanding family, a Jewish family in Paris. And the Rebbe explained that he personally had to do it because this young man had such a high neshama that had not come down into the world for years and years and years and years, and had fallen deep into the hands of the external forces of Klippa, and no other person would have had the power to schlep him out. And therefore he had to go and do it himself, which was a great sacrifice in his life because he knew he didn't have much time in this world. I have already outlived that Rebbe by 25 years. 25 years, what did I accomplish? Look at what he did. Every minute of his life was reckoned out. And so he took days out of his life to go and rescue that holy, holy neshama. But what was he doing? He was schlepping that neshama out and enabling it to overcome the drives and passions of jealousy, lust, and honor, to which he had fallen prey. And this teaches us that with the help of the Rebbe, we can do the same thing. We can also be released. A prisoner can't break out of jail by himself, you know. He needs a lawyer. He needs people on the outside who are working to get him free. So we have Tanya, we have Hasidus, we have teachers, we have Rebbe, our Rebbe, who is very much in touch with us. And that helps us to be able to do what it says here in the Tanya, that every person, if you really want, yes, you can control the powers of lust and desire, jealousy and honor, the desire for respect and acceptance. The people should like you and look up to you and praise you. All these desires, you can overcome them all. You can rule over them with your mind. And particularly, you can redirect your mind from the pursuit of these desires. You know, like a rich person, maybe he'll donate a lot of money to a charity organization, just so long as they'll sit him at the table and let him make a little speech to all the people gathered there. Because that's a big honor, and he's the guest of honor. And the Mishnah tells us that honor is one of the things that drives you out of the world. Well, at least if he's got to give up his honor, let other people benefit from his money and benefit from what he can offer them. Yeah, there you go again. And a person can redirect his desires to the direction of holiness. So now we turn to the book of Proverbs, written when? Maybe 1,500 years before even Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Who wrote the book of Proverbs? King Solomon. What does he say? Page 182. Ra'isi, I have seen, sheyesh yisrein l'chachma min hasichlos, that the power of your mind, of wisdom in your mind, is greater than foolishness. Just like the power of light is greater than darkness. Page 183. Pegush. Kumaisha or Yesha Yisrin, who say that light, everybody knows, has a power over darkness. Light is more powerful than darkness. If you're in a totally dark room and you strike a match, you see the darkness runs away from the light. The light has a power and a rulership ala cheshech over darkness. Shema'at or gashmi, a little bit of light, physical light, doiche will push away harba min cheshech, a great deal of darkness. This is an extraordinary phenomenon, and the darkness is pushed away automatically, effortlessly, just by itself. The darkness runs away. When the previous Rebbe was a child, he was arrested 5 times in his life. The first time was when he tried to attack a policeman. He attacked a policeman. Well, that'll get you in jail. Don't go attack any policeman on the corner here. Jail isn't a nice place. And not necessarily someone going to come and get you out. He attacked a policeman because the policeman was beating up a Jew who was an innocent Jew, and he was accusing him of stealing a lamb, a sheep. Little sheep. The truth of the matter was, the policeman had stolen the sheep, but he was attacking the Jew and accusing him of stealing the sheep. And the young Yeziv Yitzchak went to defend the Jew, and he attacked the policeman, and the policeman threw him in jail. And the room they threw him in was the basement of the courthouse. It was of the police station. It was totally dark, totally dark. Couldn't see a thing. And there in the darkness, he hears a person groaning in pain. And he's terrified. He doesn't know who else is in there and what's going to happen to him. Well, he happened to do a lot of memory work, and he knew one of the 6 chapters of Mishnah entirely by heart, the whole thing. I mean, that's a great accomplishment for anybody, even to learn the whole thing. Here, he knew it all by heart. He was still a young child. Maybe he was 10, 11 years old. So he's sitting there in the darkness. What's he going to do? To calm himself down, he began to go over all the things that he knew, all the Mishnayos in this chapter of Mishnah, which is a clear example of what it's saying here, that you have the power to turn your mind away from whatever it is that you desire, or on the other hand, whatever it is you fear, and redirect your feelings towards holiness. So that's exactly what he did. He turned off his fear and he redirected his feelings towards revising his knowledge of this whole tractate of Mishnah, which took about an hour if you said it at super speed. Most Hasidim couldn't even do it. But he was a kid. Children do things very fast. To digress a little bit for half a second, a friend of mine told me that when he was bar mitzvah, a friend of his father saw him. His father said, it's my son, he's bar mitzvah. He said, knows the mimer? He says, sure, he knows them. He said to the boy, do you know the mimer? He says, yes. He said, can you say the mimer for me? So he started to say the mimer. He said, say it slow, I don't hear any words. So he's grown up. He turned to me and he smiled. He said, I couldn't do it. He says, I only knew the mimer fast. I didn't know it slow. Couldn't say it slow. So the Rebbe was in jail, and he zipped through this whole Masechta. It took about an hour to review the whole Masechta. By the time the hour was over, he had calmed down, and he wasn't nervous anymore. And because he wasn't nervous, he remembered that, like a lot of kids, he had some matches in his pocket. He had matches. He took out his box of matches and he struck a match, and he could see that he was in a dark room, and there, tied up in the corner, was a lamb. The very lamb that the policeman was accusing the Jew of having stolen. And the lamb was groaning because it was tied up, lying on the cold floor. And shortly after that, his uncle came in, the brother of the Rebbe, Maharash, the Maharash's older brother, came in looking for his nephew and found him, and he was an important personality. And they took him out and he went before the judge and told the whole story. And the judge investigated, and they found out that the policeman himself was the criminal, and the boy was freed. And he went home, and his mother, of course, felt so sorry for him and smothered him with kisses and affection. And his father said, don't overdo it. It's a good thing for you, he said to his son. You had Mesiras Nefesh to help another Jew. That was worth it. And the hour you were in prison, you learned Torah. You got an hour of Torah out of it. Because otherwise, if you had just, listen to this, if you had just sat there in prison and done nothing and not learned Torah, what would have been the difference between you and the lamb? The lamb also was in prison. Only the lamb didn't learn any Torah, and you did. So what do you see is a lot of things to learn from the story, but one of them for our purposes here is that a little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. And darkness causes fear and uncertainty. And a little light pushes it away, and the Torah is light. So when you find yourself afraid of the darkness or what's going on in the world, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the world today, turn to Torah, learn Torah. I hope you all, I know you probably nobody did this, but I'm going to encourage you again to take the Tanya and start on page 1 and start learning it in the language that you speak by heart, so that you'll always have it. It's something to do a few minutes every day. Because it drives away, the Torah is light, and it will drive away the darkness of the Yetzer Hara, who wants to make you nervous and upset and keep you from doing mitzvahs with happiness. And the darkness gets pushed away automatically just before the light. And on a deeper level, that's exactly what happens when later on this afternoon, before dark, you'll light a Shabbos candle. You push away all the darkness of exile, and you bring the light of holiness into the room and into your life. Have a good Shabbos, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Who said that?
Danny has.
Oh, hi, Danny.
Hi.
And Sarah.
One of my
So Sarah's phone. Is that Sarah Cohn?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, good. Hi, Sarah. I wondered where you were. I'm gonna mark
Hi.
you here.
I'm not feeling
Good
so
Shabbos,
great.
Tanya. Good Shabbos, Sarah. Good Shabbos,
Good
everybody.
Shabbos.
Listening.
Good Shabbos.
Where's Nicole? Esther. Esther Bela. We've been worried about you. Have you been sick? You have a lingering cough? Are you in the hospital? What were you doing there?
And CT scan, and they did IV and COVID test, they did everything basically.
And
And I just had food poisoning, and
what do you have?